Good evening, my fine friends from near and far. Welcome to July live stream. As you well know, June was a time where we took off and I was traveling to lovely Colorado. I will be going back there again in August, which is exciting, to do some more work, meet some more marvelous people. So all that's very exciting. So our work together, of course, is about the mystery and the magic of the star tetrahedron. It's the symbol of perfect balance. And so we're going to talk tonight about balance. The reason, though, the star tetrahedron is the symbol of balance is because the upper triangulation is of divine power, masculine. The lower triangulation is of the divine love, which is the feminine. And as these two triangulations of consciousness and light come together in the mystical marriage, as you can see, they're interwoven in and through each other, which creates the perfect balance of above, below, and then, of course, in the middle. It then creates a vortex right where the star tetrahedron is turning, which is in the area of the heart chakra. And as it then creates a vortex, as it is spinning around us, it opens a doorway literally within the heart back in the realms of void, which is spirit. And then arising forth from inside out is divine spirit that touches the facets of the spinning star. And then through the focusing of light, divine mind, and the feeling of love, imagination, was the light shines through imagination and then spirit arises forth from within. It literally creates a holographic form spinning out from us that precipitates matter around it and it becomes manifest. And so this is the way that the being Jesus, who mastered the star tetrahedron, which we call the Christ prism, that's where the word comes from, Christ. It's a crystalline prism. And so we call it the Christ prism. And Jesus was able to master this crystalline form around, through, and within. And then from inside out, he could simply imagine, feel loafen fish. It touches the facets of the spinning star and then literally precipitated it into materiality. And that was achieved because there was perfect balance within divine mind, masculine, and then within divine love, which is feminine. And so each of us as beings of light, which is really consciousness, I'm going to show you a diagram here of the being that you truly are. I don't want you to be upside down. So this is the field of energy of consciousness around you. It's called the field of mind, the field of consciousness. And here in the middle, that's a person. And so the aura is about like that. And so most of us are pretty familiar with the aura and the energy dynamics that are created from the seven chakras that then create a reality around us of the expression of who and what we are. And the reason that's happening is because the divine mind of the great being you are is seeking to balance itself and then create itself to be mirrored within form. But in order to achieve that, there has to be perfect balance. And so there is then the polar opposites. There is spirit, which we would call Father Sky if you would like. There is Mother Earth. There is the masculine on the right. There is the feminine on the left. But then there is the good, the bad, there's the light, the dark. And so all of these are polar opposites. And they're simply fields of exploration. The divine being, the soul, is seeking to move through the worlds of form and, if you will, experience all of those different aspects: the good, the bad, the light, the dark, the masculine, the feminine, the spirit, the matter, and then bring them all back into perfect balance, which then creates this symbol, this actually form of consciousness and light around within us, which then opens the doorway. And so then, spirit arising forth from within, whatever we create from that open doorway is in perfect balance and in perfect harmony with source. And so we couldn't miscreate or create something that would be manipulative or controlling or taking someone else's force or power away. It would be literally perfect balance has been achieved. And in order to do that, of course, we then have to, as the divine being we are, the consciousness of mind, as we keep then working in our experimentation, there really is no wrong. There simply is information. We're gathering information about what it is to use the masculine, which in the old paradigm is manipulation, control, doing, using the mind to create. Again, nothing wrong with that, but as we experimented with those qualities, it gave us information about how does that feel? Does it feel holistic? Does it create harmony and peace within? Or does it create pain and suffering? Because when there's then pain and suffering, we realize that's a miscreation in the sense that I'm teaching myself how to use my masculine in a more balanced way. The ultimate achievement, if you will, within the worlds of form of the masculine is the focusing of the mind to be a perfectly silent instrument. And when the mind is a perfectly silent instrument, it's simply light. The focusing of the attention of light. And as light attention is then focused upon the divine feminine of imagination, love, it then shines the light through imagination and love. And as I was speaking earlier, that then holographically creates that to be informed within the world. And so we're using the masculine not to so much make or control, but literally come into a new way of creation, which is manifestation, which is the paradigm you see that we're moving into. On the other hand, the divine feminine, when it's out of balance, it's emotionality, it's fear, it's worry, sadness and grief, even anger and frustration. And once again, nothing wrong with any of those emotions. They're simply information that when you experience something that is sad or creates loneliness, you can then reflect, well, what's the feeling within me? And the feeling within each and every one of us will be something inside feels sad or lonely or frustrated, and it's vibrating that energy out from the aura, and then it's creating it in an event or a person or a circumstance in the world that's reflecting that emotion back to us. In our beginning of our work in meditation, we begin to believe, well, that's happening to me, or that situation is causing this within me. But in fact, it's always that we are literally emanating from inside out of us the emotion that's creating the world that we meet as a information that when there's sadness here, I'm going to meet it out there. But as we learn to use the divine feminine, which is love, and we now come back inside and we observe the emotion, we feel it, we don't judge it, we don't criticize it, we simply embrace it. And we're embracing it not so much from the level of the personality, which can get caught in the woe is me or this is tragic, but from really the silence of the higher self that simply observes, well, this is information. And the information that it's bringing to us is something is sad and lonely inside. And we find that it is always that childlike part of us that from conception to 6 was programmed in error from society, culture, mother, father. Again, we're always saying there's nothing wrong with any of that. It's simply information. And it's information that the soul has recreated as a child through the experiences of mother and father and culture and all the different circumstances. It's simply from a past life that the soul is bringing forth that misinformation. You miscreated in the past. You bring that energy forth into today's time and space, but you want then to have it seated within you. And so you want it seated from the time of conception to 6 years of age, when you're simply this sponge, this deep feeling sponge of a childlike quality that is simply now accepting everything that's happening. If there's love within the environment, well, that's some of the positive karma, so to speak, that you've experienced in another lifetime that you're bringing back. When there's great creativity and joy, again, it's something in another lifetime you're bringing back, and something within your environment growing up gave you the ability to feel that and to own that within you. But then the things that are out of balance from a past life that you have miscreated, it comes back, and that's then the emotionality. And so the emotion is something, again, that the divine being, this great field of mind around you, is wanting to understand. Again, nothing wrong. It's simply wanting to embrace it, feel it, and as it feels it, it then is seeking to move through it and find and feel what wasn't loved. And it's always a part of the self as a child. And as the soul, the divine being you are, is then loving that childlike part of you, the emotion disappears, which then ripples back to this past life where you have miscreated or you were in error with some of your own energy around maybe manipulating or hurting someone. But now you know that when you do that, you feel today, time and space, you feel pain and suffering, but now you love yourself profoundly by embracing that emotion. You realize that I would never want to experience that again within me. So you are then righteous in your action with everyone around you. You no longer manipulate, you no longer hurt them, you no longer try and overshadow them with some of your energy. You're then always moving in a very loving, balanced way. And so that begins to culture. You see the divine feminine within you, unconditional love of the self. And when you unconditionally love yourself as this magical child, it automatically then becomes you always love everything out there. Nothing within you that is out of balance is creating an energy out there that's out of balance. You can observe that there are things out there that are maybe difficult for other people. There's energies on the planet of people working through their own anger or frustration or pain and suffering, but it doesn't bother you. You have great compassion for everyone that is going through those things because you know that you in some lifetime have also gone through those. So there's no judgment or no criticism. There's even a helping hand, if they're open to it, to receive your kindness and allow them then to maybe understand, well, how have they miscreated in their life? But the beautiful thing is, you see, as you then find the divine masculine within you of focusing of the light of the mind, and then the divine feminine of unconditional love is established, it then begins to create this movement of a crystalline light form around you, which is the star tetrahedron, the Christ field. And as it then opens the sacred doorway within the middle of the heart, which in India we call jewel in the lotus. The jewel in the lotus opens, And as spirit rises forth, you can be trusted with all the powers of heaven and earth. And now you have achieved perfect balance within the worlds of form. The great being, the divine mind, has put on the worlds of form, danced with it, played with it, balanced it, brought it back into perfect harmony and union. And now it is simply a playground for creative manifestation. And so in the future, there'll be no food shortages, there'll be no resource shortages. It'll be a world of manifestation and creation because we can be trusted with all the powers of heaven and earth to simply be the divine beings that we are always within our higher self already, but seeking to mirror within the worlds of form. So this sense of balance is a very exciting thing that we're all working on. I think one of the important things about it is that there's nothing ever wrong with what you're doing or what you're experiencing. Again, it's just information. And are you using that information to feel, well, what is the emotion within me? What am I feeling? That's the key word. What am I feeling? If the feeling is joy and the feeling is love and the feeling is harmony and peace, then you're spot on. You're moving towards your righteous integration of the divine being you are. When there's any feelings of loneliness or maybe some sadness or some grief, some worry, even some subtle fear. I might be fearful about prosperity. I might be worried about the environment. All these things, yes, they're flowing out there, but they're simply part of the information that is moving like a soup upon the planet. The people who are in angst and difficulty within will be challenged by those things. But if you don't have the angst and the worry in here and you have only love, you won't be challenged by what's going to be happening in the world. You'll always be taken to a safe place. Things will flow effortlessly and beautifully for you. You'll always be taken care of because you are embodied in balance and love. So it makes it quite beautiful indeed. So one of the ways that we help ourselves to understand this feeling of the energy arising forth from the open doorway within the heart is through our breath work. Now, when we're breathing in, we know that breath is literally the breath of life. But more than that, when we're breathing in from the open doorway, we're literally breathing in spirit from inside out. And so with the in breath, as you're in breathing, yes, you're breathing in oxygen, but equally important, you're feeling here within the heart chakra that you're literally breathing source into this dimension. It's like a gentle river. Did you feel this gentle river flowing from you?
I'm getting some text that about Lisa said she can't hear you.
I think that's been resolved.
Has that been resolved now?
Yeah. Thanks, Lisa. So the breath work, once again, as we're breathing in oxygen, we're really breathing from the open doorway source into this dimension. It's like a gentle flowing river, gentle flowing spring. And it flows just completely out from in around you, flows out, fills the aura with liquid living light, and then as light emanation, it goes out into the world. And then we come back to in breath once again, breathing in deeply. The source doorway is open. And as we exhale, liquid golden light flowing out, feeling higher, gigantic light for everyone. So let's go ahead and do about 5 minutes of deep breath work. When we're breathing in very deeply down through the diaphragm. And as we're then holding it for a couple of counts, as we gently exhale, then once again seeing and feeling sparkling, effervescent light flowing from us. So let's go ahead and do about 5 minutes of deep breath work. I always do my breath work with eyes open. That way I can practice it when I'm driving or gardening throughout the day. Just a constant flowing of source breath from inside out. We can imagine there's a string at the top of the head, gently pulling you up. The spinal cord is the rod of initiation. It grounds you with Mother Earth, connects you with Spirit, Father Sky above, a golden rod of living light, the spinal column. And breathing slowly from the open doorway within the heart. And each breath is creating more space within all the cells and tissues of the body. The expansion of the aura, the opening within the body of cells and tissues. A gentle river flowing from the open doorway within the heart. Jesus once said, I am the living spring. With the out breath sparkling, effervescent golden light, all the cells of the body going out into the world. I am the light. another